So here we are, back in the ancient waterway. After we defeat Cognazo, another augment will appear. This is Tsunami. Its effects are the same as it was in the battle. I mean, I know we didn't see it in battle, but it's the same. Take my word for it. Anyway, we're going to give this to Tella. This old man can now cause a huge wave of water to appear. And I believe we're actually going to be replacing... Yeah, I got rid of Recall a while ago. Attacks all enemies with water. I don't actually know if it's instant death as an augment, though, so I could be wrong about that. That being said, we are now going to get... We're now going to walk out of here. The long way. So now that that annoying thing is over and done with, we're finally back in Baron Castle, as are the guards. So I guess they're back to their senses, and now that they're back to their senses, I believe this should also mean that, little guard over here, oh, he's not even present, good. Looks like he learned the error of his ways by not allowing me to get these treasures. I mean, I knew he was gonna come around eventually. He had to, really. So we get an Ether, Unicorn Horn. I completely forgot what those do. Phoenix down, Ether, another Ether, Phoenix down, and another Unicorn Horn. Well, I guess we'll just keep on going through the castle while I subtly look up what the Unicorn Horn does, because I never use those and I don't even recognize it. I don't think it appears too often in any of the games, really. So anything... Oh, actually, it's a, shoot, what's the spell name? Basically the one that just removes pretty much all status effects. Sleep, Paralyze, Confuse, and Berserk, which we haven't actually seen that one just yet. But anyway, yeah, I totally remembered that off the top of my head. Didn't just get that out of nowhere. Hermes Sandals, Bocce's Wine, more Bocce's Wine, which I believe that actually causes Berserk, right? I think that's the item that does it. Berserk I don't think I've gone over before, though. Basically, it causes you to do nothing but attack, like you won't have any control over the character, and they will just attack constantly. The upside of that is they do actually do more damage, so it can actually be useful. Pretty much useless for, like, magic-based characters like Tella. It would actually be very bad if Tella got hit, especially if we had no other way to cure him, so, do make... Oh, Remedy! Make sure to keep remedies on you. That's the item I was trying to think of. But yeah, make sure to keep remedies on you just in case Tella gets inflicted with anything that prevents him from using magic, because that is very bad now that we only have the one mage. Anyway, I thought there was a hidden passage, and I think there might be. Maybe? I forget. Maybe I was just checking for one. So anyway, this is kind of important, because in here, we find the ghost of King of Baron. So, you know, a little bit important. This is technically our first time meeting him. Cecil, of course, knows him all too well. Okay, well, when I stop by the place where the Eidolons dwell, you know, just on my off time, I'll make sure to come back here. Aw, you do actually get new dialogue for this. Yep, indeed. That's actually kind of nice that they included that, especially for Cecil. Because, you know, King of Baron, kind of an important character for Cecil, considering that Cecil placed all his trust in him and he kind of raised him. There we go. Yeah, there was an elixir right there. That's what I was thinking of. So yeah, he is kind of the reason that Cecil did stick around in the Red Wings for so long, despite his own feelings, until he ended up burning down a village. So yeah, the actual King of Baron, a minor character. You don't actually have to see him at any point, but you should talk to him there, and we will want to revisit him eventually. But for now, we're going to move on. So, as I said briefly last time, in this episode, we're basically just going to be exploring the world. Just real quick, I don't think I revisited, missed at any point? I don't remember me doing that. And we don't actually get a cutscene for that one. Yong's wife is important enough to get a cutscene. Not Sid's daughter, though. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be an exploration episode. We can... Alright, so we can finally open this shop, and these guys are just here. I think you can actually do this before you... Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can actually open this place up before you go off to the Ancient Waterway, considering you open it with the Baron Key, so... These guys have been just sitting here for a while, doing nothing. Anyway, nothing particularly useful there. You might want a lightning staff or whatever that's called, well, you might have wanted it for Palom, just because that would have helped him against Gognazo. Same thing for Tella. You might have also wanted that for Tella. In fact, if anything, it will probably be more useful for Tella, just because Palom was, of course, the more powerful magic user of the two. And, of course, we definitely want equipment for Sid. By the way, I wouldn't actually suggest selling that wooden hammer that Sid has. It's definitely the weakest of all his hammers, but just gonna say this right now, it would be a bad idea to, well, not replace it. You can replace it, don't sell it, though. Trust me on this one, you're not gonna want to sell it. You don't have to hold off for too long, though. I mean, it's not worth that much money anyway. Well, I'm a paladin and a force for good, but I'm not actually going to tell you where your daughter is. Bye! I'm only a paladin, so I can have light magic and beat up monsters real good. I don't have to be honest with anything. Alright, so where is our next stop? I kind of legitimately don't know. So, past me, where do you take us to first? Because there are quite a few places we can go in our new airship. I'm not going to go around here because that's where we have to go to for the story to progress. Actually, wait, I'm pretty sure I know what I do first. I clear out the map, so I'm going to be right back, because you probably don't want to watch that, do you? How could I possibly forget the first thing I always do whenever I open up the airship and also a map needs filling out? I always fill out the map first. Now, our first stop is Mysidia. You probably know why. With the passing of Palom and Porom, it would only be polite to go to the Elder and tell him of what transpired. We should also probably come here for certain items. There might be stuff we can get here. So, past the Crystal Chamber. You probably don't know to come here, but this is where the Elder hangs out most of the time. By that he means he's going to give us Dual Cast, Cry, Bluff, and Twin Cast. And another Twin Cast, because of course you have to have two Twin Casts. So the Elder seems pretty relaxed about two children turning themselves to stone. I don't know why he isn't worried, but whatever, weirdo. So, you should already know what most of those things do. Depending on what characters you give Twin Cast, I believe that will actually affect what spells you can use with Twin Cast. Basically, I think how it works is you're gonna want characters who have a pretty good bond and pretty good magic in order to utilize it well. You might be able to guess who that might be. However, we also have the Dual Cast augment, which is a pretty good one. That allows you to use two magic spells at once. I am going to save that for a character that can actually use magic well. Sorry, Tella, but it can go to better use than for you. We're going to be using pretty much all of them later on, and I'm just going to keep the rest of them, so yeah. Have I mentioned that depending on how many augments you've given a character before they leave the party, that actually affects how many augments you get from them down the line? So because I gave Palom and Porom augments, I got more. I think that means... Actually, you know what? I'm going to subtly look up what I get, or what you get from Palom and Porom, depending on how many augments you gave them. So, don't mind me. Anyway, we're actually in Mithril, which is an optional town, just filled with a whole lot of people who have been hit by status effects. Or I guess technically speaking, they're actually just naturally pigs and very tiny people, and maybe frogs as well, question mark? Alright, now let's see here. Certainly not looking stuff up. Crud. Don't mind me, it's not like I'm looking up what augments you get. It's not like this page didn't have that information. Certainly not. So, I actually forget off the top of my head what Mithril is good for. Well, I know what the material is good for because, of course, it is named after the material that is a reoccurring one in Final Fantasy. Mithril knife, not a bad knife, but I don't think anyone here really uses those. And, let's see. Actually, you know what? I've got an idea. Let me look it up by character, because I think it has it on the characters page. Not that I'm talking about anything in particular. Oh! We could watch a dance. Why don't we just do that? Well, wasn't that an impressive show? So anyway, I certainly wasn't looking things up while they were doing that, but mysteriously, I now know the augments you get. So, you naturally get Twin Cast even if you didn't get, if you didn't give them any augments. If you gave Palom an augment, you get Bluff, of course. For Porom, it's Cry if you've given her an augment. And if you give them 3 augments between the 2 of them, you get Dual Cast. So, it's a good thing I gave Palom Curse, even though it does kinda suck that I lost it. On the bright side, we do have Cry now. I'm not going to give it to any of the characters in the current party, because Cry is a very useful ability. Now, there is actually one more use for augments that I don't think I'm gonna mention just yet, maybe? Yeah, I might save it for another time, since this is mostly exploration in this part. But they do actually have a secondary ability, and it does matter who you give augments to, not just for obtaining augments, but also certain augments will do certain things other than, you know, just their standard ability, but it doesn't actually matter for quite a few levels. In fact, you probably won't encounter it yourself, and it's really only important for min-maxing stuff, so I don't care that much. Personally, I just want the abilities. Anyway, I don't think any of the weapons or armor from Mithril are... I mean, they're good, but they're not that useful. Yeah, we do have a whole lot of Mithril equipment, which, surprisingly enough, is good for Cid. It's mainly for Cecil, I think. He can make pretty good use of it, but yeah, for everyone else, not too much stuff that's actually good. Same for weapons as well. And I think that's just about it for Mithril for now, so we're gonna take our leave from this area. I suppose while we're on the overworld, I would like to mention that, that bottom left island does actually have an optional dungeon of sorts, but I would not suggest doing it right now. I would save that for a while, because, yeah, it's pretty tough for this point in the game. Plus, Tella's not the best healer, and, if you're wondering what I did there, I kind of forgot. I think I just went there to rest or something. Maybe I just went in there thinking that Cid's wife had extra not Cid's wife, Young's wife had extra dialogue, but I don't think she did, so I just skipped that entirely. At the very least, you know that nothing important really happened since I just completely skipped it. Now, this is not an optional town. We'll be coming to a Gart later on, but to be honest, I would like to just get this out of the way now. You know, if we can talk to people, why shouldn't we talk to people, you know? Though that being said, we don't know what they're being subtle about, but they're being subtle about something. What could it possibly be? Wow, they are just so obvious with this. So if you can, try to remember this for later. I know it's pretty difficult because they are hiding the information you need very well. I mean, I can barely see it myself, and I've played this game, and it's passing me right by. I'm struggling to find it, and even then after that, it's going to be pretty hard to remember what they're saying. They are being ever so subtle, talking about their ancestors and mountains and stuff dropping. What could it possibly be? Oh my god, okay, can we have some NPCs here who don't talk about this? Just talk about your day, please. Okay, that probably still kind of relates to this thing. Okay, Dancer, I know you're... Even the Dancer. Even the Dancer talks about it. Is this really the theme you're going with? I mean, I know why they're going with this song, but, this isn't really a good dancing song, like at all. Sorry, that seemed like a good opportunity to take a drink. Anyway, bit of musical foreshadowing there. I guess that is pretty neat, but seriously, I'm so tired of everything being about this point in the plot. Every single thing. Come on, NPCs. I really want an NPC that doesn't have anything to do with anything. Please, just a random NPC that doesn't mention anything about the thing that they are certainly not hinting at all. They're not foreshadowing anything. Definitely not. I mean, I guess technically speaking it is probably for the best that they do this because, I will explain, but for reasons that will come up later on, it probably is good that they really drive this point home. But again, when you already know it, it's kind of maddening. Anyway, not too much of the town left. That little house in the middle, you see that hill on the map, the one just north of that? Yeah, that house, I believe, is one that's going to be important for a side quest, so next time we come by here, I think we'll be stopping by that house, but of course, since I did miss a little bit of the side quest, which I believe we will be amending in this episode, it would only make sense, because I would actually need to continue that quest in a different town that we would also be going to this episode in any way, or to in this episode. Sometimes I say words incorrectly, and by sometimes I mean most of the time. Getting quite a few good items though, that's nice. Phoenix Down, which of course is going to be ever so useful, because again, only one healer, not really a good healer. I do feel bad for Tella. He's got a lot of spells, but he's not a very good spellcaster. Really. Well, anyway, that's certainly not going to be important. Moving on. Yes, blah blah blah, our ancestors. I'm just going to accept it at this point. I don't know what the stages are, but I'm at the acceptance portion of it. I think that's the one at the end, right? No, actually, this might be something different. Ah, so this is actually a different bit of foreshadowing. It doesn't have anything to do with the underground, but instead, this dude has a telescope so we can see the stars. Really? Huh, well, that's ominous. So, yeah, apparently there's life on one of the moons, and apparently I also can't use the telescope, question mark? No, you definitely can use the telescope. I guess I was just pressing the A button on the wrong thing. There we go. well, we can't see any signs of life from here, but I will take the word of the guy who actually owns the telescope. Now, that's just about it for the town. Of course, as I said, and as I'm sure you might have noticed from the game's subtle hints, we will be back here later for something. I don't know what it could be, but it's something. Right, so next up, there are a few overworld locations that we can't quite get to yet. As useful as the airship is, it is missing a few functions, which prevents us from going to certain areas. Oh, oh, we do go to Mist. Huh. I completely forgot that I did that. And that's why you don't just randomly skip through the video, because I completely missed that we returned here. Well, at least no one in this town will recognize Cecil, right? As long as he doesn't shout, "Why?" We should be good. They probably won't recognize him. Subtle secret passage right here. Alright, feel our way through this area, and eventually, what do we get? I think it's a weapon that we get from here, right? And, whoops. Apparently I screwed that up completely. Okay, there we go. Gold hairpin. Oh, I believe that cuts magic use? And just normal-ass clothing, which might be useful, who knows? And we get polymorph rod, I believe that turns people into frogs, and ruby ring, which I don't think is that good of a ring. I think we actually had access to that one very early on, right? So anyway, the gold hairpin usually cuts the MP consumption in battle by half, which is very useful, but I don't think that Tella can use it. And even then, I wouldn't want to give it to him, you know. That should go to a mage that actually needs it. I mean, Tella does kind of need it. Though then again, maybe it's just a normal item in this game. Don't mind me, certainly not looking it up. Definitely not. Whistle, whistle, whistle. So anyway, how about that Village of Mist that we destroyed? Oh, I think it is actually different here. Resistance to lightning, bonus of +7 defense, +10 magic defense, +9 magic evasion, and +10 intelligence. And yeah, it's not actually like the other gold hairpins. Generally, gold hairpins will cut the MP consumption. So yeah, I remembered that it was different in this game, and I was right. Good thing I did remember that. But yeah, in this game it's just, it halves lightning damage, which, you know, is kind of useful when you fight lightning-type enemies, but, not quite as useful as MP consumption, I think. I'm still not giving it to Tella either way, though. Sorry, Tella, you don't get this hairpin. Even if it is a pretty cool hairpin. To be fair, though, those bonuses are pretty good. Oof. What isn't good, though, is that Bard's Tunic. I blame Edward for... well, okay, maybe that was a little rude. Let's not speak ill of the dead, even if his equips are garbage. Alright, so Mist is a pretty small village, so we're just about... oh. So we're just about done here. We're done on our sightseeing trip to this village we destroyed. And as that man said... we just completely destroyed the village, and we just walk on through, steal some stuff, and then that's it. Meanwhile, everyone's lamenting the fact that it could be the very end of these summoners. Wow. Suddenly I feel like a jerk, and I don't know why. Right, so we are near where we need to go for plot progression. But plot progression is in that castle, not this town. This town is Troya. I don't know what that means. Oh, I did forget to go back to the forest, huh? Wow, I really fucked up. I should have gone back to the forest and, done that side quest, because Troya, I believe, is the next stop on that side quest. Wow, I super screwed up. Holy crap. I'd redo this, but I don't want to. I mean, it took me a while to get where I am, and I am very near the end game by this point, so, yeah. Anyway, we have the Fire Shard, Frost Shard, and Thunder Shard. They're kind of terrible equips, but, I would like to make one little note about them. They're not metallic. That might be something that we need to keep in mind from now on. Well, not from now on, but just keep that in your head for a little while longer. Right, what do we got? Potion, high potion, nothing new it seems. Nope, nothing new. Alright, well, nothing interesting there, of course. Nothing too much really in the quips, honestly. Yep, that equipment sure is terrible, but oddly enough, not metallic. Certainly that will not be important. Alright, what do we got here? What do you got? Nope, we don't need to stay. We haven't really been doing any fights in this episode. And I believe we can actually get quite a few secret items if we go down into the water here. Alright, what do we have? Who are you? Won't happen. Nope. Just looking for items, don't mind me. Alright, come on, there's definitely something down here. Well, if it's not on the south end, it's on the north end. Oh, and we also have this spot right here, and you're not an item. You are, though. You're a dry ether. Alright. I don't know why we have a foreshadowing child all the way in the back here. I mean, hey, you might need her. Because that might very well be important, that whisperer weed we heard about. Whistle, whistle, whistle. You might want to keep that in mind as well. Certainly there is not foreshadowing for stuff we will be doing soon. What do you think this is? An SNES RPG? Or, well, really, any RPG? If there is stuff you need to keep in mind, it would be a good idea to have the game remind you of that stuff, just so you don't forget. Because otherwise, it would just be bad design. Oh, here's my favorite place in the whole wide world. So we have that members... Is that writ or right? Personally, I pronounce it right, but, you know, it doesn't have the E at the end, so I don't know. We can't afford it either way. We will want to buy that at some point just because it will lead you to an augment, I believe, but, Good for you, buddy. Good for you. Meh. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Cross-dresser joke. Or trans joke. I don't know what it is. Well, anyway, ignoring that, the rest of this place isn't so bad. Wow, you're rude. You don't even wear furs. You just wear the same dress, lady. I mean, I know why you would want to spring for a new dress, considering every other dancer wears it. Actually, now that I think about it, does anybody in these RPGs get kind of creeped out that, like, everyone looks exactly like them? I mean, if he's paying, you might as well. You just have to sit there, so, hey, not the worst thing in the world. Then again, I haven't had an old man tell me lots and lots of stories until I want to die, so hey, I haven't been in her position. Alright, so there's one more house over here. Oh, you alright? Not really. Most people take their clothing off to sunbathe, but hey, if you just want your arms and face in the sun, then sure, go right ahead. Honestly, that's kind of redundant, because that is the, those are the spots that are going to be a little bit, tanned anyway. If it's, you know, in the summer and whatnot. Oh well. Alright. This place is actually pretty important. Well, not too important. But hey, now we know that black chocobos exist. Now you might be asking, what are black chocobos? I have only watched Final Fantasies 1, 2, and 3, and I don't know what these guys are. Well, they're stinky, that's their ability. Yep, and that's why this place isn't quite as important as it could be. Black chocobos have the ability to fly. Not these black chocobos. To be honest, I don't know why you would bother raising them to the point where they couldn't fly, if that's kind of their point, but Whatever, I don't understand breeders anyway. But yeah, now we know to keep our eyes open for some black chocobos, because the difference between black chocobos and an airship is that black chocobos can land on forests, whereas airships can only land on plains, and I completely missed what that item was. Oh well, can't be too important, right? So I think we're actually just about done here in the town of Troya. But of course, next time on Final Fantasy IV, we'll be moving on to Troya Castle, which is where we need to go to continue the plot. So I hope you enjoyed not even side quests, that was just exploration. See you next time, guys.